Call to order this council meeting for the Village of Ashcroft for Monday, May the 27th, 2024. Mayor and council wish to acknowledge that the meeting today is held within the traditional territory of the Inklickapan people. We have 3 items to add to the agenda. So I will move that the agenda for the regular meeting of council on Monday, May 27th be amended to include Marion Lowe as a delegation, replace Schedule A, page 20 on the agenda with the revised version, and add CAO verbal report under item 6.3, staff reports for information. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Clement, thank you. Are there any further additions or deletions? On the motion, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And just a reminder, Councillor Anstead, that we do need to hear your verbal yay or nay. Can you hear us?
Yay.
Oh, yay, thank you. Awesome.
I can't hear very well.
Have you got your?
Oh, okay, let me see whether I have to switch this just a minute.
But remember last time Yogi had the microphone set up so it was just through his computer, not the. I remembered. I would tell Councillor Hanstedt we're just sorting it out, but he wouldn't be able to hear me, so.
Are they on?
Can you hear us better?
Yes, I can hear you better now.
Okay.
Okay, awesome, thank you. All right, we have minutes of the town hall meeting held on Monday, May the 13th, 2024.
I'll move the minutes of the town hall meeting of council held Monday, May 13th, 2024 be adopted.
Thank you. Second. Councillor Lambert, are there any errors or omissions? On the question, all those in favor?
Yay.
None opposed, that's carried. Item 2.2, we have the minutes of the regular meeting of council held Monday, May 13th, 2024. Councillor Davenport, seconded by Councillor Lambert. No pressure. Are there, looking straight at her, are there any errors or omissions? On the question, all those in favor?
Yay.
None opposed, that's carried. And we do have a delegation. We have Marion Lowe here to speak about our branding exercise. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me. And hello, anyone who's watching on the stream. We discussed with the committee this morning what we're going to be working through tomorrow as part of the community consultation process. It's my understanding that council requested community consultation be a very important part of any kind of identity design that occurs for the village of Ashcroft. And I am very glad that this is a big part of the process because it makes my job a lot easier. And as you'll see, I work as a graphic designer. I've worked in the industry for probably about 25 years. And I love what I do, and I love what I do because I get to work with people, and it's, to me, I work as a facilitator, so my job is to actually work with people to visualize what is essentially already there, but I can't decide what's already there. It's important for people, it's actually part of my job to draw that out of people or to connect with people in a way where they share what it is that needs to be represented. And in this case, we're talking about the village of Ashcroft, and we're talking about a new brand identity, visual brand identity for the village to use that will be relevant and meaningful. So what I wanted to do very quickly for council is just walk you through a few key concepts around the process, and then show the process that we're going to work through over the next 2 months. So if you want to move to the next slide. There's a lot of talk about brand, and in the industry that I work in, the general consensus, and you'll hear people speak about it, is that a brand, it's not just a logo, it's actually every interaction that we have around an object or an organization or a place, whatever the brand is that we're talking about. And in that sense, like, we're actually each
We each are a brand. We're a walking, talking, moving brand in itself. Like the clothes that we choose to wear, the way we speak, the mannerisms we have, all of that sort of stuff makes up a bit of a personal brand. Well, it's no different to a town. So we could say that a brand is the sense and the feeling and the perception people have about a place, and in this case it's the village of Ashcroft. And the industry talk that I work in will say it's based on people's expectations, memories, stories, experiences, and relationships. And you can see why community consultation is important, because we need to gather all angles through the community to get a sense of what the essence of the village of Ashcroft is. And that's where, like I mentioned in the meeting this morning, I like to go a little deeper, because this is based on everyone's perceptions, but there is actually a unified truth that we can come to together by sharing maybe our ideas and how we see and experience a place. So if you go to the next slide, to me, the brand describes the essential quality of life lived. And that's not a static thing. Like, that can actually shift and change over time, but to the best of our ability. And that's why you do need to sometimes re-clarify brands. You know, sometimes we haven't articulated it. It's actually there, but it's just not been described in words or in an image. So that's what we're going to be going through now. If we go to the next slide. The other way that I like to talk about it is that it's made up of two aspects. So in the foreground we have the activity of human life, and that's essentially what that's all of us. When somebody comes into the village of Ashcroft as a visitor, they will meet people in the store, they'll walk down the street, they might be greeted on the street, or whatever interactions they have in a human sense, that will essentially inform their perception of what the brand of Ashcroft is. Then you also have business. How's business conducted? What businesses? What industries? All of that describes what the foreground brand, like the active, moving, day-to-day brand of the village of Ashcroft is. And it's also the invisible things, the things that we sense and that we feel, and all of the imprints, past, present, and future. So from the first time that people have actually walked through these lands, there have been imprints left behind, and we have relics of that in the quite extensive history of this particular place. And so that describes Ashcroft in a way as well. Like it has left an imprint. There's a trace of lives lived here, even though that time has passed. And so that becomes part of the brand as well. So you can see that there's so many angles that make it up. And then of course, if we go to the next slide, there's the background. So you have the scenery and the space and the particular earthy features that are like if we were talking about a movie set, and I hear you guys have had a lot of movie sets come through. It's part of the reason why people probably have come here to have movies is because of the background. It could also be because of the traces that we were just talking about, but that offers a very particular quality, and that is always there, and it changes throughout the seasons and the cycles, and changes with the light of the day. And it was there before there was a settlement here. It's just the sometimes the stuff that we ignore, but it's very present and it's always there. So these are all of the qualities that I look at what I like to do is gather it all together and study this, and before I even start to think about what any kind of visual could be. So the next important thing is that how we receive, and I like to say receive or perceive, because perception is like an outward looking, receiving it is kind of sitting back and just letting it soak in. How we receive a brand is often affected by our preconceived ideas. So, you know, if I come here and I meet a particular person and have a very positive experience, then I'll leave with a really great feeling of Ashcroft. And when I come back, I'll bring that good feeling with me. If I hear from somebody who used to live here, who's a great friend, then I'll have that connection to this place already, you know, before I visit. Or maybe I'm third generation, I've lived here 3 generations. So all of those things inform how we perceive a brand. And the role of a visual identity, which includes a logo and a tagline, is actually to confirm that or correct any assumptions that may be incorrect. So, you know, there could be incorrect assumptions that Ashcroft is, I don't know, noisy or lots of things, but you know, the quality, like the way that we talk about things visually and present things visually can actually correct some of those assumptions and like actually bring things back into alignment. So lastly, the logo, which is going to be the product out of all of this. So we start tomorrow with the community consultations. We've already started with surveys. The logo will be the symbolic representation of the brand. To the best of our ability, we will draw what we can from all of the consultation process and use the logo to communicate the purpose and specific qualities of the village of Ashcroft. And then it can be used so that people can identify and remember the village through that visual signifier, the logo. So my commitment is to make it as relevant as possible, and that involves very much connecting with the community. That's part of why I'm here right now, and that's part of why we're having the survey and the community consultations tomorrow. So the next slide, which is the last slide, it maps out, and we do have posters of this, and you will see it posted on the website. It actually maps out the process that we're going to go through. And in pink, I've highlighted the 2 parts where the community will be engaged as part of the process. The first step is, to me, the most important. The more input we get, the richer the field of content we have to draw from. And from that, we can gather emerging themes, because what's already starting to happen is we're starting to see shared ideas and emerging themes come through in what's already been contributed on the surveys. I'm sure that will come out in the community consultations tomorrow as well. Then we'll summarize, sketch, we'll develop some designs and work with the committee to refine those, and then present those designs to the community, probably later in the month, next month. And then that will be an opportunity for community to give feedback. From there, we'll refine the designs, all going well. If you send me back to the drawing board, that's fine. But all going well, we'll refine and continue to refine until we have something that is relevant, meaningful, and usable for the village moving forward, and has longevity. And so I welcome everyone who's watching to participate in the process, and if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions?
No.
No? So we have 2 sessions tomorrow, 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And how long are they?
I would say probably an hour. I would like to keep them within an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity for anyone watching to come by and learn more and contribute to the very start of the process.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we move on to item 4, public input. All eyes on the public. Hi, Cam.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You'll be there tomorrow. All
Excellent.
right. No questions for us tonight?
No, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Anything out there on Facebook, please? No, nothing? All right, we move on to item 5.1. We have some policies. Hours of work policy. We are looking to have the existing policy repealed. Councillor Clement?
I will move that policy A-05-2021, hours of work policy be repealed as per policy review committee recommendation.
Thank you.
Second that.
Second, Councillor Davenport, any discussion on this? The start of many such repeals, probably, or changes at least. All right, on the question then, all those in favor? Councillor Anstead?
He said aye.
Oh,
Yeah.
you said aye, okay.
I lip read his yay.
All right. That is carried. We move on to 5.2, the new office closure policy. Councillor Davenport.
I move that the office closure policy A05-2024 be adopted as presented as per the policy review committee recommendation.
Thank you. Second, Councillor Lambert. Any discussion on this one? All right, on the question, all those in favor?
Yay.
Thank you. Opposed, if any? That is carried. Item 5.3, Indigenous Collection and Repatriation Policy. Councillor Lambert.
My turn.
Your turn.
I move that the Indigenous Collection and Recreation Policy A06-2024 be adopted as presented as per the Policy Review Committee recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Clement. Any questions or comments or discussion on this item? No? I mean, this is something that more and more museums are now implementing this policy, correct?
Absolutely. And it was, the process was started quite some time ago with our previous curator, Kathy Paulos. And she worked with a curator out of Prince George, I believe, to develop the bulk of that policy. And it was work well done.
Thank you. Any discussion? On the question, all those in favor?
He said
Aye,
aye.
okay.
Me too.
Opposed, if
Yay.
any? Okay. That's carried. Item 5.4, CAO Report, Council Committee and Board Appointment Policy Revision. Just a reminder that Schedule A is being replaced with a revised version. Councillor Clement.
I'll move that council approve the revised council committee board appointment policy, which incorporates working groups in the policy and aligns with them with the strategic plan, and further the council dissolves the intercommunity bylaw enforcement working group as it has fulfilled its purpose.
Thank you.
So-
Councillor Lambert, thank you. Any discussion on this one? Nope.
If I may, before you, could we have a second, once you've voted on the motion that's on the floor, because there's a recommendation to move the economic development tourism to the internal board placement on the schedule, and then dissolve the working groups that are established and replace them with the ones that align with the strategic plan.
All right.
Yeah.
We can move forward with that.
So separate motion for that?
Please.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion on the floor? On the question, all those in favor?
Yay.
Opposed, if any? That's carried. So we move on to, I'm guessing this would be 5.5, and that we approve the changes to the schedule.
Yes,
Correct?
please. Yep.
All right, so I'll make that motion that we approve the changes to the schedule as outlined by CAO Dick. Councillor Lambert, thank you. Discussion? No. On the question then, all those in favor?
Yay.
Opposed, if any? That's carried. Item 6, yes.
Do we need to assign new members to the new working group?
I think later date might be better. I thought this would be something we can bring to a committee of the whole, and we can have a good, robust discussion and assign members then.
Right. And also with the changes to the Historic Hat Creek Board and the Gold Country Communities Board, that those will be discussions that we have to have, not necessarily soon, but we will have to have them by the end of the year.
Yeah.
All right, we move on to 6.1, CAO report, UBCM minister meeting requests. Looking for direction on this. So we do have suggestions that we meet with Minister Fleming, the Minister of Transportation, and with staff from BC Transit. We can add more. When is the deadline for?
I think it's the June 21st
So we've
or
still got some time.
August. And for MAC staff, it's August 24th, I believe.
All right. So we could, if we wanted, go ahead with this motion today, and then if people, at our next meeting,
to
if
it.
people had more suggestions, time to go off and think about it, and we could have some discussion right now about what that might look like. So I'm looking for someone to move the motion to get the discussion ball rolling. Councillor Clement?
I will move that council direct staff to schedule meetings with Minister Fleming, Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, Ministry, Agency, Commission, and Corporation staff from BC Transit.
Thank you. Second? Councillor Davenport, discussion. So as detailed in the next report coming up, there will be, it looks like, major changes to the transit system, and we definitely do need to speak with the ministry and with BC Transit about what that's going to look like, why it's being done, and what the consultation process and opportunities for the participating communities to be involved will be. It looks like at the moment on June the 20th, there will be a meeting with ministry staff from some of the mayors involved. I believe the mayor of Merritt, myself, the mayors of Cache Creek and Clinton have been invited, the mayor of Clearwater.
Good.
So, but we're still waiting for details on that. So right off the top, does anyone have suggestions for other ministries or staff that we would like to talk to? Councillor Clement?
I know last year we had discussions about trying to meet with the Minister of Health as a tri-community. I don't know if we want to pursue that again this year.
I can reach out to Cache Creek and Clinton to see what.
I mean, I think as we had the discussion just before this meeting, as per what we heard at SILGA, the larger the delegation, I mean, I know there is strength in numbers, so that's
Yeah.
the pro.
Yeah.
The con is you get 18 people in a room, and by
Yeah.
the time everyone's introduced to everyone, we've got 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Then everybody wants to talk.
So, and I think the other thing we have to bear in mind, I know that some communities often will come under fire because they're asking for 17 different minister meetings. A, there aren't enough hours in the day, and B, why are you asking for so, I mean, so I think you have to first identify the problem and then backtrack and go, all right, who do we need to talk to about this? So I think we need to, like with Ministry of Health, and I'm not shooting it down necessarily, but what problem would we be going to the Ministry of Health about? Because that is one of the more popular ministries to meet with. The last 2 UBCMs, we have not been able to get a meeting.
No.
So, anyway, just a caution, like what problem are we trying to solve by meeting with this minister? Bearing in mind that we then have to, well, we, staff, CAO Dick then has to put together briefing notes and detail the problem so that they're fully briefed. So I think go ahead with this one and then just put our thinking caps on, and we can come back to the next meeting if we have any more recommendations.
Okay.
Yep.
Any more discussion on this one? No? All right, on the question, all those in favor?
Yay.
Thank you. Opposed, if any? That's carried. Item 6.2, CAO Report, BC Transit Annual Operating Agreement and Transit Update. Councillor Davenport.
I move that council approves staff to sign the BC Transit Annual Operating Agreement for 2024-2025 and continue to provide the para-transit service between Ashcroft, Cache Creek, and Clinton.
Thank you. Second? Councillor Clement. All right, discussion. discussion on the agreement, which is through to next year.
April, or March 31st, 2025, yeah.
And they are looking to have these changes to the regionalization in place by August of next year.
Up to,
Mhm.
yeah, August 1st.
Did you want to give like a 1-minute Coles Note summary of
I could.
what we're looking at here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of information.
There's a lot of information there, yeah. So to summarize it is BC Transit has decided in February that they were going to take a regionalized approach to transit, trying to, so for us, what that means is they want to amalgamate Kamloops, Merritt, Clearwater, and our Cache Creek, Ashcroft, Clinton transit service, and have one operator run it. Yeah, so that leaves us so we're a non-unionized transit system. Kamloops is unionized. It's run by quite a large corporation of Transdev.
Transdev.
And Yellowhead Community Services is not going to be able to bid on that contract. So it'll go to RFP. There will be some inclusion for us to provide feedback and to be a part of it, but we won't have any decision-making powers at that RFP process. We can just advocate for our communities in the service that we're looking to continue to have. You know, we all know that we have a very unique service in small communities. We have our door-to-door, you know, our bus drivers go above and beyond 99% of the time. And there's concern that we're going to lose that by becoming part of a larger transit system. Costs will go up because our fees are going to go up. Our drivers are not going to be guaranteed jobs initially because they're non-union. However, they'll have first opportunity if there's positions available. Other costs likely will continue to escalate. They're projecting that maintenance cost will be less. We'll be able to recoup some of those costs, but everything is a guessing game at this point in time. We really don't know. And I mean, we've sent a resolution to SILGA that's going to UBCM for a fairer cost sharing to make transit affordable for us. And I know the CFO Bella has huge concerns about escalating transit costs. So we need to really be aware of what's happening and be very conscious-minded, but keeping in mind that, you know, our residents rely on the service as well. So I think actually Mayor Roden heard about the realignment of this and how they were reconfiguring transit or regionalizing the transit, and prior to BC Transit actually telling us. So it was, yeah, I think they just kind of rolled it out one community at a time and it kind of traveled. So I had a meeting with our representative, our regional rep, on Tuesday, just before I wrote the report, and she was quite surprised that I already knew. But yeah, it's definitely not looking very favorable at this point in time.
Your Worship, I'll be direct in my full passion. I have a few concerns. A, your overhead goes up quite a bit. You're centralizing. I've not seen centralization yielding benefits. Two, the costs go up and local drivers lose their employment. So that's the other thing. Three, any say we have in a regionalized system goes, rural communities are outnumbered, right?
Yeah.
So what say will we have in that thing? And, you know, I was more worried when we were looking at costs on the escalation, BC Transit not sharing, well, province not sharing costs equally across, putting the costs on small municipality. This totally overwhelms that that's.
So just to clarify, when they're not regionalizing as putting us all as one transit system. Kamloops will remain Kamloops. Merritt will remain Merritt, and Clearwater, and then ours. However, it'll just be operated by the same umbrella company, whoever the successful bidder on the RFP is. So I believe our transit committee will remain the same. We'll have that same autonomy, but just it'll be regionalized out of all of the staffing and those kinds of things. So we won't be dealing with Yellowhead Community Services anymore. It will be whoever that new provider is that'll be sitting at the table with us for our transit meetings quarterly.
I've been through these regionalizations in the health authority, and I've been through in a couple of other places. Just, that's my initial thing, I might be wrong. It's hard to centralize and regionalize, whatever the euphemism is, regionalize, without losing control or ability to influence transit. And I think our transit has worked really well.
Yeah.
We have back and forth with Yellowhead, and they're responsive. There are local companies, in local communities, in our neighboring communities, and we can make things, it's worked.
Yeah.
So, cost escalation is driven by, the cost increases have been driven by cost of fuel, inflation, all of that. So, but, we've still worked through problems, so we'll see where this goes.
And just one more thought, if I may. It would have been really nice to have been included in that decision-making process. Like, they didn't consult, there was nothing, they just made the decision, and they're enforcing the decision without any partner consultation.
So we have no choice. We have
No.
to do it. Can we drop out? Just seriously,
No, this
can we?
is
No?
BC Transit.
Yeah.
Telling the various operators, what's happened is Transdev is the company that operates the Kamloops system. Now, they have gone through regionalization in various areas. I was given a PowerPoint that was presented in February. So they've known this since February, and they only got round to telling CAO Dick last week, and I'd had a tip-off the week before from a fellow mayor.
Wow.
So Transdev operates the Central Okanagan system, which is Kelowna Vernon Shoe Swap, spelled incorrectly. Sorry, the editor in me. They Central Fraser Valley, which is Abbotsford, Chilliwack, Agassiz, Harrison, and Hope, and they do South Vancouver Island, which is Victoria, Handy Dart, Cowichan Valley, Cowichan Commuter, Cowichan Custom, and somewhere called Yubu. Anyone ever heard of Yubu?
Yubu.
New one on me. Anyway, the thought is that it would be likely that Transdev would then go for the regional option here as well, since they're already doing Kamloops. They would be taking in Merritt, Clearwater, and Ashcroft, Clinton. Councillor Lambert.
I don't like this, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. It bothers me when, things have been going so smoothly, and it bothers me now to be grouped in with a big city compared to us, and that bothers me. I wish there was something we could do about this. We're stuck.
One of the slides says, what are the cost implications? They are speculative at this time. Local governments can expect an increase in fixed and variable costs for certain aspects of service delivery and drivers' wages compared with what they are paying now. They can also expect a decrease in third-party maintenance. Now, the problem with that is, of course, the service and the driver's wages are 52 weeks a year, and maintenance is not nearly as frequent, so there's not going to be a balancing out.
I wish there was
We
something
were
we
paying
could do.
normalized maintenance costs already on, we weren't getting billed per maintenance, we were paying a lump sum for a fleet.
Yeah.
Remember they've gone through that grouping process? and
Right.
paid so I don't know how this influences. But we do a lot of things for free, right? I
Yeah.
do the tracking for the stats.
Yeah.
And, billing and our front desk. So all of those services, if you centralize to a paid party, where the communities were doing it themselves to keep costs down, that itself.
Councillor Lambert.
So what happens since we're having to do this? If we find out we can't afford it, can we drop out then?
I have to look at the contract. I know that we have to, in order to drop out of the contract, we have to give there's a 3-year notice, I believe. So it depends on where in that timeline you are in the renewal, right? So we'll have to pull the contract and really look at it.
I just would like to find a way out.
Would this be a whole new fleet of vehicles too? Is because of no, okay, so it's the same vehicles,
yeah.
possibly different drivers though.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
we own, it's us and BC Transit that owns the vehicles, not Yellowhead. They just
Okay.
provide the drivers and the service and the maintenance. and
Right.
They operate.
Now, it
Right.
does say, a typical question, will existing service levels, route coverage, fare structure, or accessibility change? No, as this is a change in who is delivering the service, not a change to the service itself. So they are saying that they are not going to come in,
Okay.
take a look at, and go, oh, well, that route from
Right.
Yeah,
Ashcroft to
Yeah.
Clinton isn't profitable, so we're going to axe it. No,
Okay.
that's not what they're proposing.
okay, thank you.
That is
Um,
important to know, that the services would not be
They say
axed.
riders and community members will not have a disruption of service. Will there be increased costs? Yes, full stop. Okay, that's pretty unambiguous.
Yeah. However, our fares have been frozen for a long time. We have not been able to increase, so that with the shift in this, there will be opportunity to increase fares, but again, we have to balance that because it's our vulnerable citizens
Yes.
that are more often not the users of the system, and we need to keep it affordable.
Yes.
Would you say that our drivers can apply for these new jobs, or are they sort of like,
It depends on who the RFP
Right.
proponent
It
is.
says, what are the employment opportunities for operators and administrative staff? Any unionized staff, which we do not have here,
right?
are guaranteed positions as both employees and the collective agreement follow into the next contract based on labor code rules, Kamloops and merit. For non-union employees, BC Transit's board has a resolution requiring that where positions are needed to be filled, that current non-union staff are offered first opportunity to be retained. Leadership positions are excluded from this. So
That does sound favorable.
presumably if a union person, and that would have to be, I'm guessing, a union person who lives in either Kamloops or Merritt,
Yeah.
wanted to be the driver here, they would take precedence.
Right.
Barring that, existing drivers would have right of first refusal. So at least that's something. So they are saying that the best way to ensure a successful outcome is for each local government partner to join the RFP process as an observer to consult in the process. So, yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, yes, to participate as an observer.
Yeah.
So you can come, but you can't actually say anything or participate in the process. Awesome.
Exactly.
So,
Okay.
so it sounds like we'll be getting a worse service for more money.
Yeah, like this just isn't right.
No.
In my mind, anyhow,
Not
in
at
my
all.
opinion, it's just, I won't say what it is.
So anyway, this will doubtless form the topic of much of our conversation with Minister Fleming if we're fortunate enough to get a meeting, and we are also asking for a meeting with BC Transit at UBCM.
Good.
So,
I might not have to do the accounting.
For all the meetings.
that's no reason not to be in. That's no reason to be in favor of this.
You'd be bored then, Yogi.
Right.
All right. Any other comments on this? We do have a motion on the floor, which is to approve the 2024-25 annual operating agreement. No further discussion on the question then? All those in favor?
I don't know.
Yay.
Any opposed? Carried. And we come to additional item 6.3, CAO verbal report for information.
So, thank you. I just wanted to follow up having Marion here, and knowing council was very, had a lot of concerns about public engagement and the process and how much we were reaching out. I just wanted to do a quick little update of what's been done. I know our public meeting is coming up on us quite fast, and that was a real short little turnaround. So, so first thing that we did after we knew what we were doing and pardon me, we were moving forward, was Margaret and Marion developed a poster with a QR code and a survey, which we then put, and we kind of put a teaser on our newsletter for the end of April to kind of get the branding or that black and white imagery out there to start getting people to start having that look, and ask them just stay tuned, there's more information coming.
Yeah.
So keeping in with the black and white, Margaret and Marion developed the poster that you see all about town. Margaret took it all to every business in the downtown core and all of the service groups that have a facility to go to. Seniors happened to be in the building, so she took it to them. She took it to the Legion, she took it up to the hub. So there's been a lot of personal one-on-one contact getting that information out there. It's been splashed out on the Facebook, on our social media, on the LED sign, on our website. A lot of people are sharing it around and around. We're getting a lot of good feedback. We've had 2 tents or tables set up at the farmers market. I think the first one was Councillor Clement and the second one was Marion and Margaret. So there's been a lot of dialogue and conversation going on around that. And then just as Marion mentioned, the next steps are going to be, gathering that information, summarizing all the data and the share findings, sketch ideas and develop visuals. We've set the date of June 22nd for our community barbecue, and the intent is to have those first visuals, I believe, to be able to have some more engagement at that. There'll be a branding logo table set up there to really engage with the community that's joining us for the barbecue. So we kind of squeezed that in really quickly so that we could make sure we gather that extra input. And then once that's received, then the design is going to be more refined. Marianne will continue to work on it and keep bringing it back and so on until it's such a time where that you're happy with it, the community's happy with it, and she receives sign off and we can start moving forward. So there is a little bit more public consultation, and that bit is coming. We're going to continue to utilize, we also did a mass mail out to all of the local the resident mailboxes on Friday as well, just to really drive home that meeting, those 2 meetings tomorrow. And hopefully we've covered all of our bases and we're going to get a good turnout.
Thank you. Councillor Lambert.
I just want to say I'm very grateful that the community is being so involved, and surely to goodness nobody can say they don't know about it.
Oh, they will. They will.
I don't think there'll be a lot, though. I really
Oh, yes.
don't. Do you really think so?
Oh, yes.
Oh, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I just appreciate getting the word out there. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
The community barbecue on the 22nd, where is that? Is it the Heritage
At the
Park or?
Pool Park.
Pool Park.
Yeah. Yep. I actually printed posters for you and left them on the printer. My apologies.
I won't be here.
All right.
Sure, you don't want to cook the burgers.
My granddaughter grabs on that. And I don't think I'll be here. So can we change the barbecue?
Only if you promise to cook all the burgers.
I think that's the mayor's job.
I think I did that last
Or
year.
maybe the fire chief.
It's my one chance, as a woman, it's my one chance to barbecue.
Oh, that's too bad.
Something about open flame and men, I don't know what it is, but. All right, anyone else have any questions on, thank you very much, CAO Dick.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? And just a straw poll, no hot seats, but is everyone planning on attending at least one of the meetings tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes, both.
Okay. Awesome, and has everyone done the survey?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Wow.
No, I haven't.
Do we get a gold star?
No, she gets the scarlet letter of shame.
Oh.
Councillor Lambert.
And then I thought I read somewhere that it's not just for residents of Ashcroft, it's for everybody. Is that correct? Good. Because it's, sorry, I'm
Nope.
rambling today. It's just nice if it's from people that have just sort of been tourists to find out
Oh,
what
yeah.
has drawn them here, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, good.
Any other, Councillor Arnstead? No?
Yes.
Okay, no, this, I just wanted to know, making sure that we hadn't lost you and you could still hear us all. Okay, awesome. All right. So that was for information, so no need to have a motion on that. There is a need for a motion about Skip's Run.
Yes.
It's that time again. Councillor Lambert?
I move that, oh gosh, sorry, I lost it here. I move that we do the road closures on the route. Sorry, I can't find it on my,
June 2nd.
June 2nd, if I may, I don't believe they're asking for any road closures.
Oh, aren't
They're
they?
just, no, they're just asking for approval of the route.
Okay, I move that we approve their route
All
for
right.
Skip's Memorial. This has been going on a long time. My mom used to do this all the time.
So
Oh, now I
second,
found it.
Councillor
Second?
Davenport, thank you. No, they don't close down the road, but they do have volunteers stationed at various spots, particularly along the Slough Road, Evans Road, to hose down people if it's hot and have water stations, and then just tell people when the turnaround points are, depending on how long you're running.
And
Cioda?
we will be advising the terminal and Arrow that there'll be a lot of pedestrians on the roads
Okay.
on those days so that they're aware.
Thank you. All right, on the question, those in favor? Councillor Anstey?
Yay.
Thank you. None opposed, that's carried. Item 7.2, Regional District of Nanaimo Legislative Reform Initiative. And I move that we send a letter of support endorsing their work on this. Councillor Clement, thank you. I'm unsure how old the Local Government Act and the Charter are, probably 20 years now?
Charter is 2006.
Okay, so coming up on 20 years. And I think this is twofold. Partly it's because we are increasingly, many local governments are finding that they are encountering situations now that were not thought of or sufficiently covered in the Charter and the Act. And also, regional districts feel that there is a need for a community charter for regional districts and a local government act because their needs are very different, their makeup and construction. Like we saw with the Emergency Management Act, that every local government had to prepare a risk assessment. How does the TNRD, which is 45,000 square kilometers, prepare a meaningful risk assessment? So rather than have to have every piece of legislation necessarily, reflect these differences, it would be easier to have
Their own.
the act and the charter that would apply to regional districts and differentiate more between them and municipalities, because the needs are just so different. So anyone have any questions or comments on the motion? Then all those in favor?
Yay.
Anyone opposed? That's carried. Excuse me. We have a number of items for information. Does anyone want to break any of these out of the for information dungeon or talk about any of them? Or no? Thought I saw a hand going up there. I got excited for a minute. All right. We have the task manager. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to sneeze again. I'm sorry to all the people at
Bless
home,
you.
so I'm doing it right into my microphone. I apologize. Unfinished business. We have the task manager motion tracker. Anyone have any questions or comments on that? No? We move on to council reports. And I just want to mention, I don't have it here, but on June the 8th, the long-awaited Loon Lake Fire Hall is having, it has been operational for a while, but they are having the grand opening and ribbon cutting at a community barbecue on June the 8th. Also on June the 8th, I will be leading a walking tour of historic Ashcroft before I go to Loon Lake. So we're going to hustle along there. And anyone who wants to come along, 8:45 at St. Albans Church, we'll be setting out. Tim said, how long is it going to be? I said, about an hour. He said, you could stand on one street corner for an hour. I said, well, thank you. We won't be doing that. CO Dick?
Could we
At least
backtrack?
2 street corners, half an hour each.
Could we please backtrack to item 10? We have 3 sets of minutes
Oh, I skipped right over those. My goodness
It was
me.
the sneeze.
It was a sneeze. Thank you very much. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. All right, we go back to 10.1, Policy Review Committee. We have the meeting notes from April 25th. So does anyone have any questions or comments on those? We don't need a motion on that? No? And we have a big binder, which is going to get bigger and bigger, of all the policies. And we've decided that we're going to start at the very beginning and pick 3 each time, just go along in order. And if we have time to do more, we'll do more.
Good idea.
So this is in addition to any emergent policies that we identify that we have to develop, or any that are brought to our attention that we have to make changes to. Paratransit Committee, anyone have any questions on the Paratransit Committee meeting minutes from May 15th? No? And we do have a motion necessary for 10.3 Policy Review Committee. We need to approve the terms of reference for this new committee. Councillor Clement?
I will move that council approves the terms of reference for the policy review committee as presented.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
Councillor Davenport, thank you. Any questions or comments? No? On the question, all those in favor?
Yay.
Opposed, if any? Carried. And we circle back around to council reports. Anyone else have anything to add? All right. We have no need to move to a closed session. We have no resolutions to release from a closed meeting, so we are adjourned.